I was kind of like a misfit, like throughout all my life. Even now, I take pride in being a misfit. Actually, I struggle with everything, like basic stuff, homeworks, just filing or just following timetables for your school. The camp that we're staying in, there was a huge thunderstorm, and the entire thing got destroyed. My painting was inside. If you're an artist, it demands you to stand out. It demands that you have a unique voice. If you are a misfit, celebrate being a misfit.
किसने सोचा था कि गुवाहाटी में बैठा एक बच्चा जिसके पास कोई प्रोफेशनल ट्रेनिंग नहीं है आर्ट में, वो आज इंटरनेशनल एंड इंडियन ब्रांड्स लाइक रेड बुल, एडिडास, लीवाइज, आज़ादी रिकॉर्ड्स एंड मेनी मोर के लिए आर्ट बनाएगा। जब ना इन्हें नॉलेज थी ना कोई गाइडेंस, तब भी ही बिलीव्ड इन हिज आर्ट एंड लेफ्ट हिज मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग टू परस्यू डूडलिंग। He became the first Red Bull Doodle art champion. Not everybody has this confidence, this courage, this belief in oneself. But the questers do. And he is one such person जो quest का असली मतलब define करते हैं. Hi, I'm Nipun Marya, the CEO of iQOO and the host of the Quest Talk. यहाँ बातें simple नहीं, epic होती हैं. And आज हमारे सामने our guest is a multidisciplinary visual artist, Santanu Hazarika. Welcome, Santanu, to the Quest Talk.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Nipun, for having me. And like you said, that was an epic introduction. But yeah, I'm really glad to be here. It's an honor to be in your presence and talk about my journey. And yeah, let's dive straight into it.
Into your quest.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so let's begin from the top.
Okay.
How did it all start? Childhood? Were you always into doodling and art?
Okay. So, like you said, I grew up in this small town of Guwahati. And back then, growing up, there was no dialogue or idea around what's art, what's design. So, as a child, I was pretty mediocre in all of my things, like studies, sports. I was kind of like a misfit, like throughout all my life. Even now, I take pride in being a misfit, actually. And art and design actually was never taught to me. It was more or less like an accident that happened. Like, I was always fascinated by comic books. So it all started with comic books. So I used to collect a lot of comic books. I used to read a lot of comic books. But I was not interested in the stories. I was only interested in the covers, the characters, and how dynamic things were. So that's how it started. I kept making art. I kept sketching, drawing, trying to think that, okay, this is something that will give me meaning or sort of validate me within my peers. And that just went on. I really enjoyed my art classes. Funny thing, my art teacher his name was Bhupen Hazarika, but he's not Bhupen Hazarika. And he was quite an inspiration figure because growing up, he really encouraged me. And that's the only class that I got an A+ in. So it was quite inspirational. I really liked his demeanor as an artist. He would come in a scooter all the way from Kamakya temple, which was like really far, and our school was really on the other corner. He'll come, he'll do his classes, and he behaved like a kid, basically. And I was so fascinated to see someone who's as old and grown up and to have a childlike demeanor and being a teacher at the same time. That I really took to that. He would always give me a pat on the back or maybe give me a little peck on the cheeks, saying that, oh, this is amazing, this is beautiful. He'd always tell me, okay, nothing more than that. He won't say this is like, oh, you should take up art or anything. Just a small thing, just a pat in the back, a small encouragement, like that went a lot. I didn't care about the grades, and everything was very difficult for me to even studies and all. I had to put in way more effort to just get basic things done. And nobody understood, even I didn't understood that I had ADHD from a very early age. And I also I'm dyslexic, and none of this was nobody had the awareness. My parents also didn't know. I also didn't know. I thought this is normal, and so I kept struggling with a lot of things. And I would if other kids took 2 hours to finish something or finish the homework and anything, it would take me a whole day. and the struggle was really bad. But art really sort of like made me focus, calmed me down. And then I struggled with everything, like basic stuff, homeworks, just filing or just following timetable for your school, packing my school bag, like getting the correct books in. Everything was a huge quest, like for me. So yeah, I think those things, now that I think about it, were kind of difficult, and it's not that normal. Even now, I struggle with everyday normal day-to-day things, like going from point A to B. There's like 10,000 different things that I have to go through just to do a simple task.
No, that's really, really, inspiring more than anything else. So that ADHD, because it's a spectrum. So when were you diagnosed with ADHD ever?
Later on, it's been like few years back, and I got diagnosed with, my first diagnosis was actually clinical depression during college, and I actually need to be on medication, but then I found ways to cope with it. Like for example, I really need to work out at least 2-3 hours a day. Just to make me feel little centered and grounded. I need to draw and sketch just to like be focused.
We have some pictures from your early days. I think maybe let's look at some of those
Yeah,
pictures.
sure. So this was 2014. So during my college time, I used to sketch and draw a lot. I was always a backbencher. I mostly bunked most of my classes to draw and sketch. So the thing is, I was very friendly with the staff. I was very friendly with the professors. All my friends also kind of liked me, and they also know he's just a chill, cool dude. He's not a nuisance, basically. So the longest period of practice and sketching was during my engineering days. The only subject that I passed in was machine drawing and engineering drawing, like naturally. And that kind of taught me discipline in art and design. So I always doodled and sketched during my classes. So 2014, a friend of mine just randomly tagged me in a post saying that, bro, you should take part in this. This is up your alley. Let's just try it out. And by this time, to understand, I had failed in all my exams, all my semesters. I was in my 8th semester with so many areas and backs. Like I would take 4 more years to finish. Maybe I wouldn't finish my course. And I was interning at a diesel shed engine where I was fixing trains and stuff, working with a lot of huge mechanical parts and all.
And there's still Guwahati. You went back to Guwahati.
Right? It was the Northeastern Railway Frontier thing. I forgot the whole thing. It was a government thing. So I was working there as an intern. And so after that, my friend tagged me in this, and I was like, okay, fine, might as well try this out. What is this? And I took part in it. I won the national round. And then I didn't have my passport, okay? I didn't have my visa. And the finals were happening in Cape Town. And at that time, Cape Town was a design capital in 2014. And I won the national. Then they had invited me for the international round. And just before the competition, I got my passport. Like, I was really stressed out. And then I went for the international one, and I finally won the whole world global championship. And at that point, everyone understood back home, like, okay, this guy can do something in art and design. There's some scope in this. So basically, I had to like really beat the world to make them understand, just to get their acknowledgement that, okay, I can pursue a career in this. And this kind of gave me that strength or that leap of faith to just dive into it. And and everything else is history now. And this was a very big moment. I had no idea I was going to win. I was just chill.
But was it like multiple rounds of doodling there in Cape Town?
Just one artwork that you submit.
And you have to do a fresh one there itself?
No.
Okay.
So basically,
the India one only you could submit there?
Yeah, submit. The same thing, same artwork was judged in multiple rounds.
Okay.
So it had to like stand out in every phase. So you have to make one artwork which will push you through all the rounds, which was like fun. Nice. I kind of liked it because I just had to make one. No more pressure.
And I think we have it later. So we will go through that. Okay.
And also, this was the first time I was traveling outside the country. I've never traveled anywhere.
And South Africa is quite far.
Yes. So I was like so excited. I'm like, I don't care if I win or not. I'm going on a paid vacation. Like, it's perfect. Oh, this was in 17, 16, I
Firstly,
think.
this is a very different style to
I
what we
have
saw
had
before and what we see now.
I have had so many like skin changes throughout the years. It's insane. So this was during my time in Delhi. I used to work with the Ministry of Culture and the BLselvfølgAcademy. Back then, I was really good with the secretary there, Mr. KK who was very supportive of like me and like especially artists from Northeast region. So this was my first art camp that they had sent me for. It was that painting that you see over there is inspired from the lore of what the Kumbh Mela symbolizes. So I was sent for an art camp to Ujjain, and it was the Simhast Kumbh Mela. And basically, we stayed, and it was a mix of modern day contemporary artists and traditional artists coming together and painting stuff. It was like a 3-4 day art retreat kind of a situation, and there were so many temples. Kumbh Mela felt like a whole expo of Babajis and sadhus. Everyone had their own booth and doing some weird things. It was fun though, because I was really into mythology. Like,
Correct.
I'm heavily into mythology. And so this painting, there are like 4 sages with scrolls, which are the different Vedas that are rotating around. And then in the bottom, there is like another, like a universe, like another sage, which is kind of it's a mysterious figure, which is kind of like, which symbolizes that lore, the mystery of the 5th drop. And funny thing is, the camp that we're staying in, there was a huge thunderstorm, and the entire thing got destroyed. My painting was inside, all my art supplies, and I had a art journal, which was like my oldest journal, which was again trapped in the debris and everything. The whole roof collapsed. It was a mess. But I had to retrieve and recover my stuff. And so what I did, I took a mattress, covered myself up with a mattress, and I literally crawled inside the debris to get my stuff out. I went in, I got my paintings out, I got my supplies out, I got everything out. And then like BLelijke Academy asked me to like work on the painting, rework it and submit it to them. But then I was like, no, I'm going to put it up as it is, because that's what the painting is about. The storm is part of it, the wreckage is part of it, the damage is part of it. And that's the story. So I put it up without finishing it. The piece is completely damaged. But then this was put up in a group show with Indira Gandhi Center of Arts. And yeah, that's the whole story behind this painting. And I don't know about my hair, what's going on there, but but yeah, the painting was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at
This
me.
isn't
Such a
you,
good
right?
boy. Look, I was so decently dressed. Look at that hair. So this was 2018, I think. So this is the second time I was meeting Mr. Bachchan, and the whole idea was that I had to paint live while Mr. Bachchan also hosted the entire event. So I was sharing the stage with him throughout the entire event. And there's a fun little anecdote here, because I went up to him when I finished the painting, and I'm like, so I don't think you would remember me. We have met before, and you have one of my paintings. Because I met him 3-4 years back for another event, NDTV thing only, and where I had to present some of my paintings, and he really liked it. He was like impressed by it, and he was like, and then they introduced me as like a world champion of that. He was like, well, it's an honor to meet you. And like, I was like, that is my line. Like, why are you stealing my line? So I didn't have anything to say back. So this was the second time I met him, and I told him, you have one of my paintings, my artworks. It's really nice to meet him. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. You had long hair back then. I remember your work. I still have it. Like, you're that world champion from Guwahati.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that's really good memory. So yeah, that's the story behind this painting and this artwork.
And just explain this painting a little bit.
So this painting was, so I'm really inspired like more by this artist James Jean. So James Jean is one of my big mentors in a way, because I'm self-taught. For me, everything that I pick up from the internet, I try to reverse engineer and try to study and mimic. And this artwork is inspired from his style of work. And this painting is basically there's a child who's actually holding two different budding like chrysanthemums. So the whole concept relies around that, how like awareness around like environment and the carbon footprint and everything that we do, it starts from a very young age. You can't simply force that when you're older. Habits can be built at a very young age. So everything that has to do with the future starts with the children. So the whole idea was basically like that like how important it is to make your children aware about environmental consequences that they might have as they're growing old.
Yeah, so insightful. Next.
This was when I moved to Bombay. This was my first exhibition, like first solo show that I did with Art and Soul. It was right after COVID. Everything had opened up, and this was a fun. It was called Black because during that time there was a huge like vacuum in terms of art creation and then putting their work out in exhibitions and stuff and physical spaces. So this was my first collection of work that I did, and the whole idea of this exhibition was derived from the use of black color and how as a teenager I had only access to a ballpoint pen and a paper, and black used to be my choice of like pen. So I used to sketch and draw and taught myself how to sketch using ballpoint pen on paper, ink and paper basically. But then the sizes were small, they were all notebooks. So I had to take that and go back in and recreate those work, but on a larger scale to be put out on as an exhibition piece. This was a fun little thing I did for Children's Day. So there was a school where it's a school for like hard of hearing and mute kids. So the whole idea was to go and conduct a workshop for them to teach them the basics of art, make it a little fun thing. So this was really wholesome because I do a lot of workshops and stuff, but it's usually for college kids and young adults. This was the first time that I did a workshop for specially gifted kids like them. And it was so fun, like it was so amazing, and you can see they all made faces, right? So I taught them how to make a face, like how to design and draw a face, and then they ended up making my face. They found me very fascinating with all my tattoos and my hair and everything, so they ended up drawing my face. All of them had made my face, my beard and hair and everything, and I was like, wow, what is this happening? And it was really 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 wholesome moment for me. Like as growing up I never had any of this, like I didn't have any mentors. I didn't know any artists. Like I didn't know whom to follow. If I had some inspiration back then, maybe I would have done something else, or would have inspired me at a younger age. But then that's why I feel like really inspiring kids like to draw and sketch, because I know how difficult it is. Like your parents and even today's time, like they have a stereotype. They don't think art is very like conducive, or artists are very safe field to be in as a career choice, and they always think art is a hobby thing. It's nothing that serious, and that's why it always ends up end up feeling like that. For the longest time I always thought art is just a hobby because I was conditioned like that. So I go do all these workshops and try to tell them that this is more than just a hobby. This is something way more than this. And I always feel like if I had an example to tell my folks way back, things would have been much more easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
in fact, if somebody's watching this, watching you, listening to you, I think he'll get a sense of, okay, this has been Shantanu's journey right from childhood, where everything has not been given on a plate. I'm having my share of failures or struggles today. You've had yours, right? And I think there's so much to learn from this and see how step by step you get onto your journey.
Correct.
In fact, because you're talking about artwork, I want to, maybe you can take us through some of your artwork.
Sure.
We have it here. And tell us what you were thinking at that time. Why, maybe you also have some consistent vision or, whatever it is that takes you or gives you the conviction that, this is what I want to do and this is my piece,
Correct.
my individuality.
Okay, yeah. This one was technically my first official doodle illustration. This was the one which made me win the world championship 2014. At that time, I was reading a lot of books by Devdutt Patnaik, and I really like how he combines logic, science, philosophy, and Indian mythology in a very comprehensive and a rational way. And this piece was inspired from this book called Seven Secrets of Vishnu. And see, for the longest time, I was exposed to a lot of mythological storytelling. So basically, like what you see over there is at the bottom of everything is science. There's all this reactors, gears, and everything. So that symbolizes how human beings use uh, like physical reality to create things and understand nature, understands, like be certain about mortality and everything around it. And then as you move up, you see there's like a figure, a shadowy figure which has the whole universe within itself. That's the idea of how like a lot of Vishnu studies comes from that we are the universe within ourselves. We are something that we are creating things around us. We are essentially the creator. But then that is also very human in nature. But then above that, they are like this six-headed snake over there is coming out. Those snakes, basically, Vishnu sleeps on this hooded snake, right? We've seen the picture. That snake has a very interesting story because that snake is called Adi Anant Shesh, which is Adi means one, which is the primal. Anant means infinity or void, and Shesh is basically void. Sorry, Shesh is void. Anant is infinity, and Adi is primal. Sorry, one. Shesh is void, and Anant is infinity. So those three things are actually coordinates of time and existence.
Next.
Oh, okay. This is a very recent one. This is part of a three-piece triptych that I had designed. This is actually the final piece. We have to go to the first artwork to understand this one. Can we go to
The previous one.
no, the next? Yeah, this is the first one.
Okay.
So this artwork is essentially around the time where I was really going through a lot of like a rebirth situation. I was going through a lot of mental turmoil around this time, and I was rediscovering a lot of things about myself. And this series is called Reptiles, Rebirth, and Antidepressants. And this is the first painting. So this is the first time that I've like put myself in an artwork with a snake. I'm trying to stare back into a void, and that's actually a vagina over there with an eye inside. The whole idea is basically trying to stare back into creation because that's where we all come from. And then it's trying to show me a lot of things. I'm like really drawn towards it, but I can't move towards it because there is a noose around my neck, and that's red in color, and that's all my past traumas, issues, and everything. Because that red color is blood. That's human, and everything that we have, all our baggages, all our issues, everything it's us that makes us human. And we want to be out of it. We want to break free from it to understand life, birth, and everything around us. So I'm fascinated by it. I'm sad about it that I can't go towards it. I'm not able to see things, but I'm trapped. And then there's like a snake. That's my pet snake right over there. That's the reptilian brain in us. That's a reptilian side of us which sort of helps us survive, shape shift, adapt to things, and just move forward. I've used that pet snake to survive and cope with everything till this point. And that's the first piece. That's what the artwork depicts. Then we can go to the other one, which is not the other one. There's one more after this. Yeah, this one. Now, this one is a little controversial because people give me a lot of shit. Because on the corner, there's again me, and I'm fully naked and hanging from the same noose that was holding me back. And the snake that was a pet becomes a whole deity. It becomes a godlike figure. The snake, the reptile, which helped me survive as a pet, has completely taken over my consciousness. And it's actually ruling my mind. And my old self has sort of died because of the past issues, because of whatever. That red noose that makes me human has basically forced me to a point where I have killed myself. And the snake has taken over. It has bunch of things around its hands, like how gods have all different ornaments and all, and tools and stuff. Similarly, the snake is holding a dagger in its right hand. The dagger has all the gemstones and stuff that I wear, because those are given to me by my parents, and they're like, you have to wear them, and I wear them. So that dagger has all those gemstones in there. So the snake has used the dagger to cut out the heart that is there. And basically, in that artwork that I'm hanging over there, there's a slit in my heart and there's blood coming out. So the heart has been taken out. The dagger that's been used is made with the gemstones that I wear. That yarn that you see over there is basically my nerves. And the flower that's over there is like a mirror. It's the same yoni or the same vagina that was there in the first artwork has become a mere ornament for the deity, which is a snake, the reptile. And that's the whole idea about this artwork. So this is a transitional phase. This one was a recent one. I did it like few days back. This was a Holi special artwork, because not everyone knows why we celebrate Holi. The mythology, the lore behind Holi is quite grim. So it has to do with Prahlad, who's the protagonist. It has to do with Vishnu. It has to do with this evil king. Okay, his name is like really long.
Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah, Hiranyakashipu. Like if I keep saying, okay, let's just say him the evil. Let's call him the evil king then. So, and then there is Narasimha. So the whole story is it's a modern remake of that lore. So what happens in that lore is basically Hiranyakashipu, like the evil king, basically has a very inflated ego. He thinks he's supreme. He thinks he is the truth. And he tries to force his subjective truth. He tries to force his dominion over every other thought and every other thing. On the contrary, his son, who recognizes truth beyond this tyranny,
Father's word.
his father's word, beyond his tyranny, beyond his idea of what's truth, he worships a consciousness which can be equated to Vishnu. He worships the idea of a supreme consciousness. You can call it God. He worships to a thing which is a supreme truth, which is universal. Now, this king, he had a boon that no man or no animal can kill him. He cannot be killed inside a house or outside. He cannot be killed in the day or night. And he cannot be, a day or night. So basically, he thinks he's immortal. And that's why he has this God complex. But then, in the final stage where they try to kill Prahlad is when he sets Holika on fire. And instead of Prahlad dying, Holika dies. They're both supposed to die, something like that. But then the ashes remains. And those ashes is what represents the gulal that we put on our face. It signifies change, it signifies existence, it signifies death, it signifies rebirth, and a lot of other things that are associated with this.
Okay, so you've built your conviction, right? And now if I talk about, say, an 18, 20-year-old, maybe even a 16-year-old watching you, listening to you today, then, he will also have this question. One, of course, he may also be thinking, oh, I'm a misfit, right? Like you felt maybe, early on. And I make art, others either don't appreciate, don't recognize, or maybe whether I'm good or not good. So if somebody has this quest of doing well in art and is still trying to find his or her feet in this world, what will your advice be to such youngsters that, okay, this has been my journey and you've shared your journey so beautifully. But what are the few things that they should either keep in mind or take steps as step 1, step 2, step 3, or have beliefs like this? Maybe we can even break it into functional skills and psychological skills, right? Because I think in art both are required, as you mentioned when we talked about art school. So what will be your advice to such young kids?
I mean, I'm really bad at giving advice because I've never like listened to anyone advising me. I hate that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. In fact, more than advice, let's say, okay, do's and don'ts.
yeah, do's and don'ts. I mean, see, with everything that I've done in my whole journey, I have always like been consistent. I've always like you said, like had the conviction to back my art and my vision, and everything doesn't become you don't become successful overnight. Like Rome was not built in a day. Similarly, everything that you art demands you to stand out. You need to be different. So like you said, like conviction. So I think for me, is that conviction that pushed me to be where I am. So I won't advise, but I will say things out of my experience. Is that like if you're an artist, it demands you to stand out. It demands that you have a unique voice. And how you propagate that voice, how you express that voice, it has to be backed by your skill sets, the medium that you use. And that's the whole journey of an artist. You have a voice, if you are a misfit, celebrate being a misfit. And you find ways to like express those things. Those are the skills that you need. Hard work is always the key. I mean, I think talent is something which is a gift, but then if you don't work on it, your gift will be taken away. So I think that's something that has worked for me.
Okay. Okay, yeah. And when it comes to formal training versus not following conventional norms, what do you think about that?
I mean, to each his own. If you have the resources to get a formal training, go for it.
Okay.
Like if I had the awareness, if I had the resources to go to an art school. Okay, but I did apply later, but I got turned on by every other art school. Like I applied for Delhi College of Art, I applied for Jamia, I applied for IIT Design and everything. I failed in all of them again. Nobody got me. Like nobody put me on the thing. I never got in. I'm like, screw that. I'm gonna do my own thing. So I think that is important. If you have the means to be be trained academically, go for it. But then always remember this, like you should find your style. You should have your own unique perspective, and everything else is just a way to propagate that. Learn those skills. Take whatever is required for you to speak and say and express. And I think that's perfect. But if you don't have the means, then it's just a little harder. But now today we have so much access to things. We have internet, we have this, that. So you can just explore. The thing is, the first step, like it's a very cliched thing. The hardest step is taking the first step, right? You have to take the first step. You'll have to like do it. You'll have to be active. You have to be proactive. You have to keep
and say yes first and then figure it out.
Yeah, say yes first and then figure it out. Don't be afraid to fail. Like keep learning, and there's like till you die. Like what's the harm? You'll always be like in a place, like you'll always be few steps ahead from where you started off, even if you fail.
Okay, I think these were some of my questions, but we also have questions from our community.
All right.
And I want to ask those as well because they certainly want to know a few things about art and career. Devashish has asked, as we witness the decline of ancient art practices such as the intricate carvings found in temples and caves, do you share any concerns that the rise of AI-generated art could similarly overshadow human artists like yourself?
There'll always be a battle constantly. See, AI is a tool, and creativity will always come from a human experience. We can say, okay, AI is taking over this, that, and not. Just it's a tool. When it comes to traditional mediums and modern mediums, there's always be a point where there'll be a threatening happening, right? Because it's technology. We always have this fear of like technology will replace human beings. So just be smart about it. That's it.
Okay, wonderful. J Street has asked, what are your thoughts on the graffiti scene in India? Do you think people actively follow it? Also, do you have any words for graffiti artists making a mark in India?
I think graffiti has really made a mark. Like even around Bombay, you see all this like Bombay Art Project and all those different places that you see in public places. There's so many beautiful art pieces which are grand. So now people graffiti art was a form of vandalism before, which is the truest sense of graffiti. Is like quick, come in, do your stuff, fast, tag, bounce, run from the cops. The whole basic thing is like you, even when it comes to the spray cans, you have to go and steal them, you don't buy them. So the core of graffiti is complete anarchy, complete like dissonance, and complete rebellious, like rebelliousness around it. So that's what graffiti is essentially. But now graffiti has become part of the popular culture. Like in events and all, you have like artists like Moose, artists like Akil, Zake. They're doing so many amazing brand projects with like using graffiti as a medium. They are getting paid for graffiti, which is not graffiti, by the way. If you're getting paid for it, it's not graffiti.
And if it's planned,
If it's planned, it's not a graffiti. But then the style exists. The exposure exists.
okay, the last question from the community side, it's on income sources from art. And what they're asking is, when and how can I really start making money out of my art? And what advice would you have for somebody who's just starting off? And what are the potential sources for me? Is there any freelancing available? Where can I do that? Or some brand collabs?
collabs.
How do I do that?
So I think it's still a very difficult and open-ended thing because this industry is not standardized. Like every other industry, things are standardized. Like there is a minimum wage and this and all that. But when it comes to art and design, it's a very open-ended thing. We're still struggling in a lot of ways. There are a lot of artists, but not enough work. But then things are changing. Now, like when I was doing all this stuff, there were no brand collaborations. I was one of the first batches, one of the first guys to actually start putting art and seeing art as a brand collab thing and incorporating it in their campaigns, in their products and stuff, and also demanding that we get paid this much, like demanding money for it. No longer it's like a graphic designing thing. It's no longer a service. It's an added value.
It's a product.
It's a product. It's an added value to the product. So now there's a change. Now brands and all, they look for uniqueness. They look for thing. The best way to do is to stand out is basically build your own brand. Like work on your social media profile. It's been really beneficial for me also. If you're different, if you're unique, find out what separates you from the rest.
That was a very comprehensive answer as well. Okay, let's move to the rapid fire.
All right.
First, how would you describe your art style in 3 words? Or fewer.
Okay. I think it's surreal, nightmarish, and visceral.
What's the one tool or medium you can't live without?
Ink on paper.
Any dream brand musician you would like to work with in future?
And a dream brand or a musician? I think a dream brand would be. I would.
iQOO.
Okay, I've already worked with you guys. Now you have to give me a whole like a special phone to design. Yeah, iQOO. There you go. But then a musician, I would love to work with. Right now, I'm listening to this band called Sleep Token. I would love to work with Sleep Token, or I would love to work with this band called Tool. Like I love their music. I think I would love to work with them.
Okay. I hope this reaches them and they're approaching you very soon. What do you enjoy more, doodling or drawing?
Both. Both.
If your art had a soundtrack, what genre would it be?
If my art had a soundtrack, I think it would be a mix of jazz and heavy metal together.
Digital art or traditional art? What excites you more?
Traditional.
Traditional. Okay. On that note, thank you so much, Shantanu. We have this, quest plate where
Okay.
we always write, okay, what's my quest and
Okay.
what I quest for. Maybe you can also pen down your thoughts on your quest.
I quest for. I quest for.
You can even do a quick doodle, actually.
You don't want me to do that right now. I don't know what will come out. I quest for. I quest for a meaning in my
Meaning.
life, for sure.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sure you're already giving meaning to so many people through your art. And yes, absolutely, I know that. And on that note, we also have a small gift for you. You've inspired, millions of people. So,
Nice, that's me.
yes, your quest has inspired millions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Really a pleasure. I also learned so much today.
It was
And
really nice.
I think it's really wonderful to hear your stories, hear your art, and also music to your art.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.